Welcome to the BMPodcast.
Thank you.
I am Olivia Murrah, and I am going to be talking with these two wonderful people. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Surafel.
Oh, I'm Haley Lewis. Hiya.
Today we're talking about Maniac, which is the new series, limited series, exactly, on Netflix, starring Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. One thing that I really wanted to talk about was their acting performances. I thought they both did a wonderful job. I read articles that talk about this being Emma Stone's best role to date, which I can kind of agree with. I mean, she really does do a wonderful job. I haven't seen Birdman, so maybe I don't know
I was
fully.
just thinking that,
Birdman,
The thing is, she's not in Birdman very much. I would say that she's in about maybe 15 minutes.
Being a supporting character in a movie versus being a main in a limited series, you're going to get a lot less screen time.
But also, it's a lot harder to be the main character than just to come in a few days and do your scene. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, this role was 100% more time-consuming. And
What do you think about this role? Like, I mean, I thought Jonah Hill also did a really great job as a dramatic actor.
Well, you say this role, but like really, they're doing like 3 or 4 roles.
They're honestly doing about 4 roles. And the thing is, I think
like
this,
5,
this role for Emma Stone, I did like La La Land, but this is like, she deserves that Oscar. Like, that's hers. You know what I mean?
This would be an Emmy if she won an Emmy
No,
for this.
she won an Oscar before.
Oh,
but I'm saying
you're like,
that Oscar, she deserves it. Like, no one can
Gotcha.
ever take that away from her and say, you're not a good actress. Like, this.
Has anyone ever disputed that she's a bad actress?
Some people have.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some people say that she maybe like didn't sing that well in it, or like
She wasn't the best singer in the world.
I know that's what they're saying. Maybe she didn't deserve an Oscar for it. I actually really.
But this
liked her in
performance
La La Land.
definitely Oscar worthy. Like, she did a really good job.
I think that she should win an Emmy for this. I think both of them should.
Yeah.
So limited series, so there are some limited series that I've heard of that had like multiple seasons, but it's always like, well, maybe we'll do another season. We don't have to, but like this is probably just going to be the only.
I read online that the director said, I am not doing another one.
I read the same article. Like, he was saying that the writer and creator, he would, be willing to do a season 2, but Kerry, I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, Fukunaga.
I forget, honestly.
I believe you.
I could spell it, but I cannot pronounce it.
Spell it right now.
But I read that the director, he was saying that he would not in any way, shape, or form come back for a season 2. I loved the directing style. I thought it was really, really beautiful.
It was really original, which is, I mean, while Netflix does have a lot of original series these days, I had the same feeling, although there's some similarities in the kind of culture-wise. It reminded me of when I watched Stranger Things, because I watched Stranger Things before it got really, I found it on Netflix one day, and I was like, what's this? And I was like, I really liked that. I had that same feeling when I watched this.
Yeah.
Which is weird because these are so like radically like Stranger Things is.
I'm just saying like the 80s kind of like vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like that's like it feels like it was plucked straight out of the 80s and then put in a 2018 like palette. This is this weird like
I can't even tell you when this
was
supposed to be.
That's what they were going for. They were because they were trying to incorporate 80s stuff, but they were trying to also make it futuristic. So they would incorporate an 80s style, but try to make it look so that it was like a modern or like futuristic.
It was almost
thing.
like a different reality, like a different reality, like
different dimension.
A different dimension.
There were times where I was wondering, I was like, okay, so is this like gonna go into some weird like geopolitical commentary because they had like the new Statue of Liberty and there was like Chinese tourists or whatever, and I was like. This is not what I was like, and it's like, no, that's just something you just dropped right there just to have it. That's why a huge thing I love about this show is just the details, like those little things like that, like the fact that you'll just
trash, little poop thing.
You'll see like a little like the mouse of a computer will be like the old school Mac things. Or like you'll see the main character Jonah Hill has a character who he hallucinates, and you'll see him like as he like exits the screen, as he like exits the frame, just as he's like kissing the edge of the frame, he's like even blocked out by like a solar flare or lens flare.
Yeah.
He's so obfuscated by the edge of the screen. They'll still do this little like great animation as he's like exiting out, like a little great like effect, and it's just like these little tiny details throughout the entire thing that really like make it so good. Just
Speaking of the details, though, each episode had its own sort of story, and like they went into a different universe, and those details were very. They were made specifically for that episode.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yes. Each episode.
Yes. So my question to you guys is, which episode was your favorite? I don't think I have a favorite because I love them all so much. But I was wondering if either of you had a favorite episode.
Well, I think before we even get into that, we haven't really even talked about like the premise of the show.
True. That is very true.
Should we just get into that and then we'll talk about episodes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So the premise of the show is essentially these two, Jonah Hill and Emma Stone play these two people
Owen,
who are...
and I forget her name. I feel bad.
whatever.
Owen and Emma Stone.
They play these two people who are doing a trial run for like this new form of drug testing. It's a new kind of pharma therapy.
It's meant to replace going to therapy. It's supposed to be you take 3 pills, A, B, and C, and then once you take those, and each pill
you'll confront your worst trauma.
Yeah,
and then work
as
your way
a hallucination, kind of in your mind, and after you take those pills, you're cured supposedly, which sounds nice.
It's like condensed therapy.
Yeah,
I guess is like
it's a shortened way of like. Instead of like going to therapy for years and years, it's like take these 3 pills and face your fear, and then right afterwards, happy skies.
But the thing is it's not just they have these hallucinations. It's like these hallucinations are something that they don't just happen. They're being like kind of inceptioned or kind
into
of
a computer.
Yeah, so and then their simulations, their like weird realities are being manufactured by this computer, by this artificial AI.
Yeah.
Who starts to have kind of like a space odyssey kind of
what happens is one of the scientists,
we don't reveal too much.
Well, is this too much? I was just going to say that I don't think this is revealing. I'm going to say it.
Okay.
The computer has empathy. It's like growing, starting to become empathetic,
which affects how it
operates.
Not it. The computer is a she.
Scarlett Johansson and her was an it, and so is this machine.
They're all she's. No. AI is coming to take over. Don't you dare misgender them or they'll attack you.
Don't misgender my AI.
Please. I'm going to get that on a shirt.
That's going to be the 22nd century hill that we're going to die on.
Yes.
But so
now with the premise.
Yeah. Was it episodes?
Yeah. What was y'all's favorite episode?
Oh yeah, you said the name of it. I forget the episode title. My favorite one was an episode, as we were talking before, that Emma Stone and Jonah Hill, they're playing different characters every time they go into one of these hallucinations. They take a different pill, or mostly the B pill. But it's one of these realities where I can talk about it? Is it spoiling it? Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So, basically, they're married in this scenario. They live in Long Island, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And
it's kind of them just going on this crazy heist to steal a ferret. And it's nuts.
Oh, and a lemur.
A lemur. It's a lemur. Yeah, it's to steal a lemur, and I really liked their relationship in that episode because it was like, I feel like the point of it was that he felt like that she didn't love him, but when I was watching it, I'm like, I actually really think they have a good relationship here, even though maybe she might be taking advantage of him a little bit. I feel like it felt like after I watched that episode, I said, I want these two to end up together. Like, that was the episode that made me
that episode was really great because, like, it had them in a relationship that their I guess, positions in the relationship felt very authentic to what the real life counterparts of the characters were.
Yeah.
Whereas like Jonah Hill's character is someone who constantly got walked on, who constantly was taken advantage of, and who was constantly just treated like nothing.
Yeah.
And whereas Emma Stone's character is a person who, because of things that she went through in life, had to be very hard and very like, I look after myself and isn't afraid to walk on people because she has to look out for numero uno.
Yep.
And also, I think it's really neat, too, because in the episode, I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler or not, but, we already said spoiler alert, so if you're getting this far, you've already seen it. So I thought it was really interesting, though, because in that episode, she goes and saves the lemur, and it's like, that was her whole thing, is like, just doing that. And I think in a way, towards the end, Jonah Hill, like, he stays in that sort of, like, I need to be rescued, like, I'm, like, the being walked on type of person. And then the last episode, like, he is kind of, like, being walked on. He's just kind of thrown away, and she comes and saves him, And so I think it's really neat to show that connection in the story of, like, you see their characters, and then you see their characters again, and, like, how it's, like, their relationships impact one another, if that makes sense.
Like, even in that episode, like you were saying, how it reflects their real-life selves, I felt like it was a lot like the real life selves, but it was better. Like, it was a better version of their life than they had. I felt like, while, like, Emma Stone's character felt like she had a family, she felt more grounded, like, she doesn't have a family in real life has, like, children and stuff. And even him, he had his wife.
Family, in this thing, he has, like, a family that is, like, not, I guess, he doesn't feel so odd man out the way he did, like, in his real life.
Yeah.
I think that, we haven't like discussed Billy Magnuson yet. Who is it Magnuson?
Who plays his brother?
Yeah, is that how you say his last name?
I think that's how you say it.
Perhaps.
Billy Magnuson's a person who, like, I think every single thing that I've seen him in, I thought that he was so great in.
Yeah.
From the episode in Black Mirror to Game Night to even The Big Short, which is like this really small cameo that he has in there. I just think he does in all these things. He does this really good thing of like a likable douchebag, or like a charismatic douchebag,
or when
it's actually charismatic idiot douchebag. Like he does that so well. Like it's
more like you know that you're supposed to hate him, but you get why everyone likes him.
But the thing is, he also kind of pulls like a Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger thing, where like. And Michael B. Jordan, he spent his entire career playing these like really affable, charming, charismatic, like really guy that you like a lot. And then he does Killmonger, and it's like, oh, you're murdering. Okay, cool.
Love that.
And like it's a similar turn here, where it's like, oh, Billy Magnuson, like, yeah, he's always a douchebag, but you can't help but like him. But here, you're like, oh, you're kind of a monster. Yeah. And it's just like he like plays with type, but also against type, and I just really, really enjoy seeing.
And you also have him as the other brother that he's playing, which to be honest,
he plays himself in a hallucination version of himself.
It was still a little. This series is very confusing unless you're paying attention. I think it took me to about the third or fourth episode to be like, I get it. I get what's happening here.
You can't treat it like Parks and Rec or The Office where it can just be on in the background. You really got to pay attention.
You got to pay attention because my parents are watching right now, and I told them I actually gave them a little bit more of a synopsis, and they were like, I'm glad you told me that because I might have bailed episode 1 if you hadn't, but I kind of understood.
But that also goes to the world building and like the character development, and that they make it so that it's like so essential to pay attention because there are so many details, like you mentioned earlier, and I think it's just written and it's just created so well. Like, I really don't think.
I think at least a huge part of like on top of just the. Like, the premise itself is interesting, but there are a lot of things like this, Inception, it reminds me of Inception, of like, Eternal Sunshine, like, the entire, like, going into the subconscious.
But not Eternal Sunshine, and so I feel like, I don't know if I can have, like, the same...
Eternal Sunshine is kind of like if Inception was a romantic comedy.
I couldn't get through that movie. TBH.
That is insane.
Maybe, I'll give it another try. But no, I really don't... Also, this show reminded me. You said Black Mirror. The show was very Black Mirror, like in the
best way
possible type sense.
It's also just going into the entire thing of like that neo '80s. Yeah. Man, people love the '80s.
It's kind of like San Junipero.
Yeah, it's like San Junipero.
Gosh, I love that episode.
I was going to list all the things. Like, we know all the things. The Stranger Things.
It's very
the Guardians. They're everything.
What I don't like is I've read some reviews about this show online where people are like, this show is too pretentious. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I
will say it's not very accessible. This is not the kind of thing that, like, if you've been working all day, you come home to turn your brain off and watch it. Which there's value in that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like... Well, I'd say it is entertainment.
I mean it in like the way that like a lot of people watch things just for entertainment. This is one that you can't watch with just like I just want like entertainment. Like this,
you're gonna learn a lesson.
Like this involves a little bit more like thinking and like understanding and like passion for it. Like you have to be one of those people. I think like you can watch it and be like, oh, that's pretty, and oh, they do a great job acting. But it's not one of those that's like I'm just gonna watch it just this one time. Like you would watch like a regular comedy, like the other guys. Like you can watch that and just be like, that's entertainment, but this is more than entertainment.
It's something you really chew on, something that really sticks with you because, I mean, I can imagine if you are a person who, the character is someone that, if it reminds you of you, that you'll imagine it's something that's going to be like, oh, this really reminds me of myself because they really felt like three-dimensional, fleshed-out characters. And it's something that, just because it feels so real and because they spent so much time really detailing these characters and making them feel like real people, ultimately, not even just the main two characters, also the scientist and the mom and like all the other people, like the entire cast feels like these are people. I really like it when things don't feel two-dimensional, and I think the biggest strength of this, it has all these really interesting genre things going on, the cool effects are cool, all the trapping and aesthetics are great, but at the end of the day, it has really well-written characters, and that is the driving force of what makes this thing so great, in my opinion.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to mention that you just said was about it's like the genres that they have, and like some of the episodes have different genres. Like there's the one towards the end where they're in sort of like a Lord of the Rings sci-fi type world. I really love that episode because I read an article about it, and it was talking about Emma Stone doesn't like to play.
I read that.
Yeah, she doesn't like fictional things. She likes things that are real, and so whenever she had to do that, you can see in her acting how she really hates it, and it comes through in her character too, because her character doesn't like it either. So the director,
they heard that she said that, and they're like, we're ready.
We're gonna make you do it, and you can really feel her sort of like towards it, which I think comes out because it's part of her character.
Which is great though, because like it really, like, that bow and arrow that she uses in that moment, I swear it's a Nerf toy. I'm not sure, but I swear that's probably a Nerf toy.
I saw she was talking about how, I saw it was in an interview, I forget with who, but she was saying that she had zero training. Like, she didn't do any training because they're like, I'm drunk, so if I mess, I'm supposed to mess up.
Which I disagree. Like, I mean, even if you're drunk, you'll have, like, the better, like... That's a lazy answer, in my opinion. I think there's a difference between someone that's unexperienced and someone who's experienced and drunk. They don't look the same, I don't think.
The thing that I love, though, the very last episode, there's that oneer where she's, like, sort of fighting all of Owen's demons.
Oh, I love
that was a oneer, and they had so much, like, I think we read the same article, but they had so much, like, preparation, and I think they did it in, like, 1 or 2 takes. I can't remember exactly, but she was, like, choreographing, like they had, like, a strict sort of, like, schedule, like, rehearsing that. And, it's really, I love that.
I mean, honestly, that entire, like, the entire fantasy stuff is great, but honestly, I think they're all great. Like, I think that the closest thing that I can really compare this to is anyone that watches Community. In that show, they really, like, every episode from episode, it jumps around from genre to genre. There'll be something like, oh, we'll have, like, a Star Wars parody episode, or, oh, a Western episode.
Community is the perfect example. The directors, they love genre. So they'll just go into these different fantasy, or these different, like, heightened reality things. And
they'll have, like, a D&D episode, or now we're going to have a Civil War episode.
Oh, yeah. But in this, they'll go from, like, fantasy, or they'll go to, like, this weird, like, 40s spy intrigue, neo-noir type thing, or, like, this, like, I don't know, like early 90s, late 80s Long Island romantic comedy or domestic comedy.
You have like this UN meeting.
Or like a UN meeting. It's like a political sci-fi thriller because I think there are aliens. It's just...
It was craziness.
It jumps around everywhere and it's great.
I really enjoyed it. And I really feel like it was...
It's not style over substance, but it's still heavy on the style and it's great.
I feel like that's the key. It's like... Yeah, some shows get away with just being like, look at all the stuff we have. But and I feel like Stranger Things, if you have the story to match that, it's like gold. You know what I mean? You got it. You did it.
Yeah. I just love it. It doesn't let you get comfortable with it because they bring you into a different universe. They bring you to a different genre, different characters, you know.
I loved Jonah Hill as his character. And the thing is, I've seen Jonah Hill in like his like comedy stuff, of course.
He's hilarious, I think.
I was like...
I love him as a dramatic actor.
But I was like, he can act. Like, my first initial shock of how skinny he was, I was like, this is craziness. But then, like, I was like, I think he was my favorite character. Like, I really was, like, into Owen. He was awesome.
I've seen him in one other thing where he was a dramatic actor, and it was True Story. No.
Oh, the James Franco movie.
Yes, James Franco. It's based on a true story. That's why it's called True Story.
Yeah.
Shocker. Spoiler alert. But... He was a dramatic actor in that, and that's where I first saw the glimpse of him being able to do that. But this, he goes so much farther into just like, I don't even know, like, he just does such a good job with this.
For this, 100%.
And this role, like, honestly, after I saw this, like, I was going to be like, Jonah, are you okay, buddy? Because, like, there really wasn't any life in him. Like, he was just this weird, broken shell of a man. Like, it was, I just wanted to hug the guy.
And see, Justin Theroux, who plays the doctor who models the AI after his mom.
I still swear I think is Colin Farrell in disguise.
He does.
Not in reality, but like in that thing.
He does kind of look like Colin Farrell.
One thing that I read though was like he was written like his character was supposed to be a lot of like comedic relief, you know, and because this is like a very like heavy show, you know, if you don't like, you know, I don't know. But I really
need a break from it sometimes.
And he like offers some comedic relief, and like you did get to see portions of that. But I loved how like, I was reading about the director and how he was just kind of like letting him like have free range of like improvising some different parts of it to just kind of like fully flesh out his character and kind of develop it.
Because I feel like his character, I kept going up and down about how I felt about him the entire series.
Yeah, he kind of does have like an arc that's like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
If
I like you or not.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching you.
Yes. You definitely can't get a grip on him because he's just like, he changes. You know, he modulates, whatever.
I know that like, so I know that of all the characters who do the experiment, like Owen and Emma Stone are the most interesting characters I know it's so weird that I can't remember her character's name. But
Annie. That sounds right.
Okay.
I don't
I'm
feel
looking
like
it up.
that's right.
Well, whatever. Like they're the most interesting characters because something happens with their hallucinations.
They join together. They can't separate.
Yeah.
They're being forced upon each other.
It's Annie, yeah.
But still, I kind of I was interested to see like what were the things of the other people. Like I kind of and like I know they're not gonna do another season of it, but like I wish that there was
into it. Remember
during the B pill when they were
interviewed. So briefly.
It's very brief.
But like I
it also
more.
I was like I felt like their story or their like the glimpses. I'm like, are they just like not on the level of messed up, I guess, or interesting that these other people are? Because I don't like the things that they were dreaming about that you would hear. You'd be like, okay, sounds pretty normal. You know?
If there was a season 2. What would y'all want out of it? Would you want something like this, or would you want to like delve into more of the other characters? And
I feel like they've had their arc, the main 2 characters, and I think it was a great arc. I love this. Well, actually, I'm not sure how it could work now because it's an interesting premise or it's an interesting structure that could work for a lot of different characters. And I would really like to see like, let's see what the worst traumas of like everyone else in the cast. I think that, and to see them deal with it in this really interesting, unique way, like. I mean, I respect the choice to just kind of leave it at where you want to leave it, but at the same time, I'm like, I want more.
I think that I agree with you. It's like, I feel like there is more story that you could tell with Annie and Owen, because I was like this, again, not spoil, I was just like, what happens next? I want to know. I know I'm never going to because of it. Mm-hmm. But I personally, like, I don't care about those other people in the trial. Like, I
didn't either. But I'm also I don't really need any more from Annie and Owen because they did tie it up really nicely. Mm-hmm. But I would be interested to see if they did a season 2.
I'd like it in that same world. Like, maybe I would like it in the same world, and maybe you could hear some repercussions of this trial, like. It's woven through, like, stuff about this same trial, you know?
I just worry if it's going to have the same sort of stylistic impact that it had without the same director, you know?
Yeah.
But I think we all really enjoyed it.
A lot.
And I've recommended it to numerous people. One of my friends, she'd never binges anything. I told her about this. She's binged it all.
I saw it in a night.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I think it took 2 nights because I was trying to be good.
But yes, I mean, like, I think this is something that everyone should at least, try to watch. I mean, it's really beautiful.
I'd say give it 3 episodes. Give it 3 episodes. Like,
and you'll be hooked.
Yeah.
But I just want to, like, I think we should just kind of comment on the broader fact that, like, the last 3 things that we've been talking about have been Netflix stuff. Like, they are killing it
I would love
with
to
their
work
original
Netflix.
Series. Mm-hmm. Like, just between American Vandal, BoJack, and Maniac. Like,
I actually started watching.
And Stranger Things. Stranger Things is also one of their, like, huge. Like,
Orange is the New Black.
Oh, true.
That's their real. I'd say that's their real initial, like.
Well, true, but I just mean, like, those 3 things, like, this year, I think, have been some of the best things in TV television of the year so far.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, but I also, to just switch it may even have to do with. They have so much original content. Something has to be good. Like, you know what I
mean?
Yeah.
Like, it would be really troubling if they didn't have at least like 20 good things. Like
the amount of original series that they're putting out now.
But also, I thought for the longest time that all Netflix things were good. Not true.
No.
Not true at all.
But this is one that is really phenomenal, and everyone should try and check it out. I'm really thankful for y'all to come and discuss this with me.
You're welcome.
But yeah, this was the BMPodcast talking about Maniac, which is a limited series on Netflix, 10 episodes. Watch them.
Do it.
I am Olivia Murrah.
I'm Surafel. Follow me on Twitter at @dopestethiopian.
I'm Haley Lewis.
Tune in for other podcasts on the same YouTube channel.
Bye.
Bye!